the future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is Our Fam. You don't know about Our Fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on
Hello. Welcome to the Craig Carton Show. I am Tyrone Johnson filling in today. Usually I'm the guy in the corner. Today I'm just the guy. I hope everybody had a tremendous Thanksgiving. And if you're wondering why Craig isn't here, I don't know. But we do already have a photo of what Craig is doing right now after a long Thanksgiving, as you can see. The Chiefs season ended. Craig got himself so excited. He's in there drinking. He couldn't make it to work today, but I'll be taking you through, tryptophan and all that stuff, taking you all the way through the hour today. We got to talk about a lot of football from yesterday. We got to talk about a lot of football tonight. We got to talk about college, a lot of things going on. But I want to start right now with the word of the day. And the word of the day today is incompetence. Incompetence for 2 main reasons as we go through everything. Let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. How do you have the best quarterback of a generation and mess it up? Yes, they've won a lot, but we know from Tom Brady, we've seen this. We saw it with Peyton Manning. You have an opportunity to be good each and every year, basically forever, if you have the guy. The Chiefs have the guy. They lose yesterday, and it's over. And when I say it's over, it's not just this season with them being 6-6. It's over forever. They're never, ever, ever, ever going to get back to the status that they've been. Kelsey's out of here. They have not drafted well. The defense got old quick. Their best player on defense also north of 30. Andy Reid's an older coach now. It's not going to work the same. What we saw yesterday, last night, on Thursday night, during Thanksgiving, was the end of a dynasty. We saw it right there in our faces. It's over. Mahomes this time can't be blamed. He has not been great this year. He throws for 4 touchdown passes, and they still lose to the Cowboys, and it's over for the Chiefs. And that's the only way you mess this up is incompetence. If you're a fan of everybody else other than the Chiefs, and the way Craig has had a contentious relationship with Chiefs fans, I would imagine that's most of the audience so far. Imagine your team with Mahomes, and you be 6-6. The only way you can look at that is incompetence. That's what you end up with. And this cannot happen. It cannot happen. It should not happen. I don't know why it happened, but this is how we're here. This is now where we are. Now, let me ask you this, though, as we move along. What does it mean? What does it mean now that the Kansas City Chiefs are finished in the AFC? Does it mean it's wide open? Is there another team that's going to emerge? Is the dynasty thing done? I mean, look at the playoff picture right now. You have the 1 seed, you have the Patriots. Okay, we know that, but that's not an unbeatable team. You look at the Broncos as the 2 seed, not an unbeatable team. People don't respect the Colts yet, nor should they. Look at the Steelers. Look at all those playoff teams. We're now at a spot where we've had a David versus Goliath situation in the playoffs basically every year. Every single year, you're looking at, okay, the Chiefs are the team to beat, and everybody kind of has to race up there and fight them. And a lot of times, historically, people like that deep down. They don't like the team, but they like when there's somebody to fight against. But now, all of a sudden, with the Chiefs out the way that they are, it's wide open, and we're going to have to now recalibrate ourselves because who's the enemy? The common enemy. You know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Therefore, whoever's playing the Chiefs, that's who I'm rooting for. That's how it's always been. Well, it finally happened. They're dead. It's over. Mahomes is done. He'll still be a great quarterback, but it's going to be similar to when you had the Patriots have that 10 years during the Brady run where they didn't win a Super Bowl, even though they made the playoffs every year. The Chiefs aren't even going to make the playoffs. The Chiefs are not going to make the playoffs at 6-6. You saw those teams ahead of them. It's over for them. And while some people rejoice, I have to be honest, if I could be. I have to disagree with Craig a little bit. I lament it a little bit. I lament it just a little bit. And because I liked when the Eagles kicked that team's butt, because I hated the Chiefs. And finding somebody to hate, it does something for me. Maybe I'm a flawed individual, but it really, really did something for me to hate the Chiefs. And now we have to now look at the fact that going forward, we don't know who the team to beat is in the AFC. We may not know who the team to beat is in the NFC. This is a brand new NFL. This is a brand new league. But one thing we do know for sure is that the Chiefs are finished, and the number one reason is incompetence from the top. You cannot mess up when you have the best quarterback, and somehow the Chiefs managed to do it, and it's over for them forever. Now, that's not the only place that we have a little bit of incompetence. The other thing is the first game of the day, and this has been a recurring thing. NFL officials have been incompetent all year long. Craig's talked about it. I've talked about it. You've seen it. And they blame the tush push. It's a really hard play to officiate and all these things. All right, well, what's the latest excuse for this? If you watched that game yesterday where you had the Packers-Lions game, here's another example, we're about to put it on the screen for you, of blatant incompetence. Now, it's 4th and 1. Okay, this is a close game. Packers are at the Lions like they are every year. Shout out to Eminem, who did a really nice job with the halftime show. He's now in charge of. He did a nice job, had his grandson there. It was cute. But going back to the screen, you see right there, 4th and 1. There's a clear false start by the right guard by the Packers. They're not in a tush-push position here. There's none of that. You see it right there. On the podcast, people take our word for it. Go watch it on YouTube. They're right there. And then you see the coach in the background has not called timeout. Not only is he not called timeout, it's not even close to calling timeout. It's a clear false start, which takes a 4th and 1 where they're going for it and should put it as a 4th and 6. Instead, they award the timeout, and what you end up with? You end up with a 4th and 1. They go for their next play, and they get a touchdown. Significant because what if you stop them there? It ended up being a one-touchdown game. The NFL officials have increasingly been incompetent all year. And now I have to do a direct challenge to Roger Goodell. How is this guy, this empty suit, who allows these owners to just manipulate him, when are you going to have a little bit of personal pride as a man? When are you going to pick yourself up and look yourself in the mirror and realize you have the best athletes in the world? NFL is so popular that it beats church. Now think about the history of America. Think about the history of the world. Church had been undefeated from the beginning of time. You know, we won't go BC, but go from zero, all right, all the way forward. Church is winning. All of a sudden, somewhere in the 90s, the football have concocted something that beats church, all right? If we were doing a field of 64 of Sunday activities, the church is a 2 seed at best, okay? The NFL's the 1 seed. They beat church. You have the best athletes in the world. You have guys that are bigger than everybody that you've ever met and faster than everybody you ever met. You have these athletes that literally put their lives on the line. We hear about all these injuries and CT and all this stuff. And you make these joke guys in charge of it. A 5'5" accountant should not be deciding what happens in the game with these titans that put it all on the line. At what point, if ever, do we finally just get some competent officials? That was a game-altering play. And people say, oh, it was the first half. It wasn't the only thing. Yeah, all games. You can do that with any game. You can do that with any game and say, well, the players do this and the players do that. That should not allow these officials to consistently, and I mean it, consistently be incompetent. And that's what we saw yesterday. It affected the game. So I'm sitting there. I'm getting ready to eat like part one of my meal. As you can see, I have the leftovers in front of me. I hope everybody's enjoying those leftovers on this Black Friday. And I'm having to think about the referees. This should not be happening. And what happened to replay assist and all these things to help it? It doesn't happen. Instead, they just let it happen. Oh, he got the timeout in. It's on the road. They're lucky that didn't happen in another city. Detroit fans have gotten a lot softer than they used to be because in certain cities, those refs wouldn't have been safe. I'm not calling for violence. I'm saying there might have been violence or stuff thrown on the field. I'm just saying it might have been. It just might have been. And instead, what you ended up with is docile people who went along with it. But that can't happen on a Thanksgiving Day game. And one more thing with the referees, just if I may, go back to the Chiefs game. They ended up losing the penalty war. Did that have anything to do with the fact that they lost the game? Did that have anything to do with why they lost the game? I think it did, and that's why that Craig, I have to now, even though he's not here today, give him credit because, again, it's clear if the referees who do cheat at times, if they don't cheat for the Chiefs, they don't have a chance. And yesterday, I think it was clear. We want the Packers to win, so don't mess it up. And clearly, the incompetence from the referee cost the Lions in large part at least a chance to have overtime in that game. It's not a great situation. It's a very, very poor situation here on this Black Friday. And the NFL must do something to fix it, or why bother watching the game? You already have people that think these games are fixed. You already have people who think these games are rigged. And now you have the officials in plain sight with a ski mask on robbing you. And you just cannot have that. You just can't have it. Coming up on the other side, I will get to the Cowboys. I'm going to tell you the good, and I'm also going to tell you the bad of the Cowboys. You guys got to calm down here on the Craig Carton Show.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson, filling in for him. I hope everybody had a tremendous Thanksgiving. I know one fan base that did in particular, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to that in just one moment. Did you guys notice, though, what the NFL tried to pull? Now, during the graphic, they showed that Andy Reid's been coaching for 100 years. This was only the second Thanksgiving game that he had ever coached in his career. He had coached one with the Eagles, and now this one with the Chiefs. Do you see what they did, though, the NFL? Like on the low, and we weren't supposed to notice? They literally put Cowboys versus Indians on Thanksgiving, and we're just supposed to just be okay with that. Okay? And why not just have the smallpox blankets there? Why not just have the smallpox blankets there? Like, you just go do Cowboys versus Indians and we supposed to just be okay with that? I thought that's not even a game kids are allowed to play anymore. And you're going to put that blatantly on TV. All right, I get it. But Cowboys, all right. Cowboys beat the Chiefs. We talked about the Chiefs side of it. It's over. And now Cowboys fans are feeling themselves, and Dak played well. And look at us, offense. We're back. Jerry Jones, we talked about this before the show, was the happiest human being in the history of humans after that game. He's getting his turkey leg. He's dancing around. I know what I'm doing. Look at me. We beat the Chiefs. We're great. We're the Cowboys. And congratulations. I want you guys to enjoy it for now, especially the ones from Dallas and the Fort Worth area. Now, the rest of you that are watching this show and consuming this show in your trophy room where you have a Cowboys jersey, a Lakers jersey, a Yankees jersey, and a Duke jersey, because you guys are all frauds, you guys have to calm down, okay? Though you have to calm down. We've been through this before. We have been through this before over the last 30-some years, okay? Aren't you guys getting tired of it? You guys absolutely should have to wait. Most times, you have a lot of fan bases where they talk about. You have the Browns fans and the Jets fans, and for so long it was the Cavs fans in Cleveland as well because they had never won for the land. And I get the Clippers fans. There's a lot of downtrodden fan bases across the sports landscape. But the Cowboys never come up. Why? Because you guys have these illusions that you're relevant. And that's my issue right now. Not that you won a couple of games in a row. Not that you got yourself to 6-5-1, throw a damn parade, you're so damn happy about it. You're allowed to do all of that. But you got to slow your roll just a little bit because you've been through this before. You win your little 11 games. There's times where you guys will win 12 games. But you know at the end, you guys cannot and will not ever win as long as Jerry Jones is the owner of the team, and you know it. Okay, you know it deep down inside. You guys aren't even front runners. You're like back runners because you know at the end of the day, the Cowboys will always fail. Okay? It's just a fact. They will always fail. But you're feeling yourselves today. But I need you to calm down. And I'm doing this as a friend. Okay? What's coming up here? It's for me because I respect you and I want to be your friend. Okay? We want everybody. So here are things that weren't around the last time that the Cowboys were relevant. It's a long list of things, but here are some things. Here's one thing, number one, that didn't exist the last time the Cowboys were relevant, the TV show Friends. Yes, you know how they had the whole Ross and Rachel and the whole show. Then they had a bunch of years and they did a reunion on HBO Max and people were bidding to get the reruns and all that stuff. It didn't exist the last time the Cowboys were relevant. Here's another thing, the quarterback you beat, Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't born the last time the Cowboys were relevant, okay? So don't go getting all feeling yourselves too much. You guys have a lot more to prove. Here's another thing. Any of you guys, any video game enthusiasts? Perhaps you like playing the PlayStation 5. I have a PlayStation 5. PlayStation 1 wasn't out yet. Yes, the last time you guys were relevant, Cowboys fans, Jerry Jones, all of you, the PlayStation didn't exist, none of them. Here's another one. She's a big fan around this show. Sydney Sweeney did not exist the last time the Cowboys were relevant. Did not exist. And yet you guys want to act like because you're 6-5-1 in the regular season, we should get excited. And here's the one. Now, I don't know about everybody, but if you have the PlayStation 5 or you have a big home theater system, even though we have streaming, you now have Ultra HD DVDs. 4K. Yeah, you know what didn't exist the last time the Cowboys were relevant? The DVD. Not the Blu-ray, not the new stuff. No, the DVD. So just to go over it, you guys were last relevant before Friends, before we didn't even know who Jennifer Aniston was. We didn't even know who she was, and a lot of you love her. Patrick Mahomes wasn't born. His dad was still playing in the major leagues. PlayStation, Sydney Sweeney, and, of course, the DVD did not exist the last time you guys were relevant. And I'm saying that as friends. All I'm saying as Cowboys fans is enjoy it while you can, but know that there's an end date to it. There will always be an end date to it. And the reason there will always be an end date to it is because Jerry Jones, despite your guys' patience, doesn't know what he's doing. You're looking at what they're doing right now, and you think it can last, and I'm telling you it won't. Why? Because you don't have the right quarterback. Dak is a very good regular season quarterback. You know what he's not? A very good playoff quarterback. And none of this matters if you can't. I'm not asking you guys to win a Super Bowl, but if you can't win a playoff game, all of this is for nothing. you still have a roster. When you're looking at this roster, CeeDee Lamb and those guys, didn't they just get suspended just a couple of days ago because they were missing buses and stuff like that? What are the odds that these guys stay on the straight and narrow the rest of the season? I'll tell you the odds that they stay on the straight and narrow the rest of the season. 0. That's why you were able to get them in the first place. That's how you have him in the first place. It's because they knew that these guys didn't know how to act. And then if you could not suspend them, but what's that going to do? Also, you get Quinnen Williams. Nice player from the Jets, and he's helping you in the short term, but he still has that Jet stain on him. There's never any player that has that Jet stain that can go over to another team and then help you win. It can happen. It won't happen. There is an end date to all of this. But again, Cowboys fans, I do want you to enjoy it, but just stay humble. And I went to the parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade yesterday, and I'm seeing all these people, and then somebody was like, excuse me, would you mind passing my son over? There was a big crowd, so the mother had a son, and the dad was on the other side. And I looked over, and they had a Cowboys hat on, so I didn't pass the son because I can't do that. I cannot help Cowboys fans. They tend to be extremely rude people, in my opinion, when they're not from Dallas and Fort Worth area. It's over for you guys. But just like the Lakers aren't going to win the championship, just like Duke's not going to win, just like the Yankees came up short, you guys are the triumvirate of losing. That's just the way that it is when it comes to the Cowboys. You will never win, but enjoy it for now. Feel yourself, oh, you're going to catch the Eagles. Oh, you're going to win a division. Oh, this is finally the year. Since 1994, this is the time we've been waiting. We can make it. We're the Cowboys. How about those Cowboys? How about those Cowboys? And I tell you what's going to happen again. Dak's going to say, hey, we just got to get back there next year. Maybe I get another contract extension so they can sign some other players. Oh, maybe our pass rush if we had Micah Parsons. Oh, don't you worry. Cowboys fans, it is impossible. It is impossible for you guys to win the whole thing, but enjoy it while you can. You do not have a lot of time. You do not have a lot of time. On the other side, we'll talk about how Lamar Jackson, deep down, is the problem with the Ravens here on the Craig Carton Show.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. Buy or sell. Thursday night football should end after week 10, George. You going to buy or sell this?
It's too short a week. It's not healthy for the players. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise here. The NFL will tell you, oh, stats tell us no, it's not more injuries. And that's all BS. All right. Should it end after week 10? In a perfect world, there should be no Thursday night games. Should it end after week 10? Sure, I'll buy this. But it's not going to. There's too much money here. It's never going to end, all right? They're going to have it forever. You're lucky there's not a Friday, Saturday schedule as well, and there's some laws involved there as to why there's not. The NFL is going to have a schedule or for any day they can get here. It's all about money here. And if the players don't want it, by the way, you got to realize, well, you're going to lose a significant chunk of revenue out of your salary as well here.
Right.
So I'll buy this, but it doesn't matter. It's not going away.
I mean, George just basically said everything that I was going to say, so what is the reality? The games, so of course I'll buy it. The games are not good. Generally, the home team has a big advantage. If not, the teams are not prepared to play on Thursday night. Yes, there have been some upsets and some underdogs winning. We saw it Thursday night. But the quality of play on Thursday is lower than what it is on the weekends. And there's no end in sight to it because of what George said, the money. That's just all that matters. If Amazon Prime doesn't take it, Netflix will take it. If they don't take it, Apple will take it. If they don't take it, somebody else will take it. I don't know. Hulu, I don't know. You make it up. Someone will. So it is not going away. And, generally speaking, I'm excited every week when the games begin, and then I forget, and then the games usually stink, and I'm like, oh, gosh, this game wasn't good anyway. So George is right. Not going away because of the money.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson. In for Craig Carton. He'll be back on Monday. Again, I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Another group of people who did not, though, Baltimore Ravens fans. And I have to be honest now. Lamar Jackson, I love Lamar Jackson. Just full disclosure, he's one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's one of my favorite athletes, period, in all of sports. But we got to call a spade in this situation. Lamar Jackson, when it comes to this Ravens team this year, is their biggest problem so far this season. And because that division is so poor, maybe they'll still make the playoffs. And you look at the stats, it'll say, oh, the stats look good. He hasn't been available enough. And then also, he had the 3 turnovers yesterday. He had the interception. He had a couple of fumbles. And then the team had 5 yesterday. When you look at the stats are fine when you look at Lamar Jackson. When you look at the games, you see something's not right. I don't know if it's because of health. I don't know if it's a lack of weapons. I don't know if he's pressing because he knows it's really not about the regular season at all. It's all about, with him, the postseason. That's the only question left for him to answer is Super Bowl. And it's always tough in a long season, whether it's a football season, a baseball season, basketball, hockey, when you know it's all about the end of the games. I recognize that. But Lamar Jackson wasn't good enough yesterday, and he is the main reason they lost to the Bengals, if we're being completely honest. He can't turn the ball over to that level. And again, his stats there, they look all right, but look at that. 53% interception, doesn't mention in the small print, it has the 2 fumbles, 246 passing yards. That's not good enough. That team is built for him to be Superman. Now, you can say maybe it shouldn't be built that way, but the fact of the matter is this team, this Ravens team, is built on Lamar being Superman and everybody filling up around him, making it easier for Henry. It's about him. Maybe if he's built like the Eagles, he would play differently. Maybe if they're built like the 49ers, but you can't worry about that. You worry about the team as they are. And the Ravens right now are an extremely flawed team, and those flaws look even worse when Lamar's not great. And forget Superman, he was just flat bad in that game. And he looked like he was moving better than he did in previous weeks, so I can't say it's the ankle. I can't say it's the hamstring. I just have to say he played poorly. And that means that team has no path. Even though they can still win the division, the Steelers could lose to Buffalo coming up. Nothing is lost yet for the Ravens, but other than Craig's win-out prediction, but peace to Craig. But other than that, that's the only thing that's gone away. But you can't win it. And here's another thing that we found out last night. There were a lot of people, and Craig we were talking about it on the Thanksgiving show about how Joe Burrow wanted to play. We're talking about it on Wednesday and Thursday about how Joe Burrow wanted to play. You saw why. The defense lifted up because Joe Burrow was back. The offense all of a sudden looked very competent with Joe Burrow back, and they go and get the win. And now if we can bring up the Bengals schedule possibly, can they play spoiler the rest of the way? Could they win out? I'm just looking at the schedule. Why can't they beat Buffalo? They've been vulnerable. They just beat the Ravens, so maybe they could this time it'll be home. They play them again. The Miami's a winnable game. They have Arizona's a winnable game. They have the Bears. They have winnable games on their schedule, and now they get a chance to play spoiler. They play a bunch of teams in the playoffs or vying for the playoffs the rest of the way. But right there yesterday, for people going, why would you bother playing them? What's the point of playing Joe Burrow? Because that's what they needed. And yes, maybe this season is lost. Maybe they can't come back. But you can't tell that to the other 52 guys in that locker room who clearly have not quit. They clearly have not quit. You needed Joe Burrow out there, and you saw why yesterday. And now, I'm not saying the Bengals are going to win out, but nobody left on that schedule can before when he's out, they're looking at it and going, win, oh, we'll beat them. None of them can say that now. They're all going to have to pack a lunch because it's going to be a long day when you play against the Bengals now with Joe Burrow back. And that's why he's out there. And you saw, and I know it was just one game, but yesterday, who was the better quarterback? Was it Burrow or was it Lamar Jackson? Yesterday, it was clear for one game that it was Burrow. And that's why I have to come down on Lamar Jackson there, because that was a huge opportunity. Okay, that's a huge opportunity. It's a short week. You're at home. You have to win that football game. And instead, they didn't, mainly because of the mistakes that he made. And yes, people are complaining about, I see online, people go right to wanting to get rid of Harbaugh. Fine. But if you fire the coach and Lamar turns the ball over 3 times in a game, what difference will that make? What difference will that make? If he turns the ball over, you have no path to winning. And unfortunately, in big spots, and now we have to go back to last year in the playoffs, Lamar turned the ball over, interceptions, fumbles. That right there is a recipe for disaster with him. And unfortunately, as much as I love to give him the credit for MVP, I thought he should have won MVP over Allen last year. He's a great player. In certain spots, he has a weakness that Jalen Hurts doesn't have, that Mahomes usually doesn't have. He turns the ball over, and in this case, he cost them the game. And if he's not careful, it will cost them their season. Lamar Jackson has to be better. They lost because of Lamar, not because of anything else. They lost because of Lamar Jackson, as much as I hate to say it. Coming up on the other side, we have a huge game between the Eagles and the Bears. I'll talk to Hunter Brody from 94 WIP about that game as we get a little preview of the Black Friday game here on the Craig Carton Show.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
A huge number out there on Cason Wallace to win Defensive Player of the Year at 500-1. That is worth your attention. And a number that I talked about before the season that I still think should be lower is Mark Daigneault to win Coach of the Year at 11-1 in the NBA. If they win 70, he's a lock for top 3. If they win 73, it's his.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. That just burns up quick, and you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy,
Yeah.
but possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now in the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson in for Craig Carton. He'll be back on Monday. Got a big game coming up in just a few hours as we do this show live. You have the Bears at the Eagles. Black Friday game. Joining me from the flagship station of the Eagles, 94 WIP, Mr. Hunter Brody, friend of mine. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you? How was Thanksgiving with the fam?
It was good. And now you got the two. You had her second Thanksgiving and her first Thanksgiving for home. How was all that with you?
Yeah, it was great, dude. It was, the parents don't care about me anymore. That's for sure. It's just about what those two are doing and how cute they look. And I'm just off to the side. Oh, yeah, Hunter's here. That's right. Oh, yeah, nice to see you, too.
Yes, so since Craig isn't here, I got the most Philly guy, the most Philly-sounding guy in the world, Hunter Brody, joining me to talk about this game as we count it down. Hunter, the Eagles are 8-3, the Bears are 8-3. Obviously, the Bears are very happy with their 8-3. In Philadelphia, where you are on the ground, how do the fans feel about the 8-3? Because many cities would love to be 8-3.
Yeah, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. You got 50% of the people so disgusted and thinking it's going to be 2023 all over again where they had the epic collapse. And then you have the other portion of the fan base that thinks they win games, they win at an elite level, and you just got to realize there's a method to the madness. And I actually lean more towards there's a method to the madness just because it's been so much winning, it's hard to dispute. But I get it because the frustration with the offense is so real, and it looks like Kevin Petullo is in over his head. So I'm somewhere in between, but I trust Jalen, and they win so much that it's kind of hard to argue it when they win this much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. You led me right to the next question with Kevin Petullo, the offensive coordinator. Craig has openly called for him to be fired and bring in like Brian Dable. I don't think that's realistic this late into a season. But we've also seen in the past when there's young coordinators, Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia likes to meddle. Is there a chance that this is all him? Is it Sirianni? Who do you think's most responsible for the structure of this offense?
It's an interesting question. And the reason why I think it's unique for this experience is I think Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni see football the same way. Where if this was a different OC and it wasn't Sirianni's right-hand man, I think I'd be more open to wondering if Nick is involved and hands all over the place. But I think KP and Sirianni truly do have very similar philosophies, and they believe in the same thing, and they have a similar mind. So I almost think it's both of them combined because they see football the same way. Do you think that's fair or unfair?
No, that could be fair. And if you look over at the Bears side, they have not been explosive, but they found ways to win, kind of like the Eagles have been doing so far this season. But the Eagles' defense recently, the Dallas game notwithstanding, has played really well. Let's flip over to that side of the ball. What do you think the Eagles' defense needs to do against a mobile quarterback in order to win the game this afternoon?
I think what Vic Fangio is going to do is he's going to force Caleb Williams to make mistakes because he just eats people alive, Vic Fangio. He's just someone who is going to throw things out there that I think Caleb Williams, 1 second of hesitation is either going to cause him to throw it in traffic, and maybe Cooper DeJean's there, or Zach Bond this week actually comes up with the interception or anything like that. And look, I respect their head coach, Ben Johnson. I think he's doing a wonderful job with Caleb Williams, but Vic Fangio is one of those guys that is so experienced. He just knows so much, right? I think he's going to game plan certain things to force Caleb Williams to double guess the second the ball snapped to him. And then that's probably going to force him to make some mistake and maybe even multiple mistakes that you capitalize on.
Absolutely. Now, with Vic Fangio, it's funny how Miami a couple years ago, we don't like him. The guy didn't like him. He's been nothing but great in Philadelphia. You mentioned Ben Johnson right there. With the Thanksgiving games yesterday, you see the Lions' offense without him does not look the same. Do you think that guy might have a really bright future long term? Because early on, the reviews are great for Ben Johnson as a coach.
I would say, yeah. I mean, look, especially if I'm going to look at it with the lens of what's happening with the Eagles here, it's stale. I hear guys like Greg Cassell, who study the tape at a high level. He called this an elementary football offense. You know, that's a smack in the face of disrespect, but he's not wrong when he sees the tape and sees that. So if I'm going to criticize the Eagles heavily for that type of nightmare stuff on film, then I got to look at Ben Johnson and say, there's something to that. Now, it's got to get polished. You know, you're going to work through the ups and downs of being an NFL play caller at this high of a level, but there is definitely a McVay, Shanahan, awesome electric sex appeal, if you will, to what he's doing. Sex appeal. Sex appeal. Sex appeal.
All right, so enough with the X's and O's. Let's get to the drama. All right, let's go to A.J. Brown. All right, he seems to speak about things publicly a lot. Now, maybe he also says all these things in private. I'm a big believer that if you go public, as long as you've talked about it in private first, it's allowed. What you don't want to do is you don't talk to the OC, you don't talk to your quarterback, you don't talk to your line coach, you don't talk to your position coach, but then you go on Twitter and you get the Twitter fingers. That kind of thing poisons a locker room. You're there on the ground in Philadelphia. Is the A.J. Brown thing a problem, or is A.J. Brown just saying out loud what everyone else is saying in private?
Whew. Can I answer with both? Because I think he is a problem, and I think he is saying everything that everybody else is saying behind closed doors. I love AJ. I'm not one of those people that think, because there is a portion of fans here that think, you don't need him. He's being problematic. Get him out of here and move on. No, listen, he's part of the sustained success that we've had for quite some time, all right? The guy is unbelievable. But I think there's a lot of frustration, and the issue with that is I think it's pointed at a lot of people if you're AJ. I think he's frustrated with Kevin Patullo for not being creative enough. I think he's probably disappointed in Jalen Hurts because Jalen is, I don't want to turn the football over guy, but that also relates to a lot of winning. So because of his risk-averse nature, someone like A.J. Brown is going to have to take the hit because he's unwilling to maybe let it rip with anticipation and things of that nature. So I think it's one of those things where he's angry at a lot of different portions of this football team. And because of that, you know, it's starting to be very controversial. But I think he's saying what everyone's feeling internally, and then he's also taking routes publicly to the point where Jeffrey Lurie had to step in on one of those sidelines practices on a Friday and make it public that they spoke. So clearly that's ruffling some feathers internally.
Yeah, so now I want to ask you about Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Eagles cannot win long-term without Saquon being better, not having a good season, and I want to blame the offensive line. At the same time, when Tank Bigsby gets in the game for the Eagles, for anybody that watches him, he looks explosive behind that same offensive line. So is it Saquon did too much hanging with the president, too much doing commercials, doing movies, enjoying his offseason, and maybe he's a step slow? Or is the offensive line and this offense really making him go from a super-duper star to, at best, a pedestrian running back?
I think he's trying to do too much with every snap. Like, he wants to get out of this funk so badly that you can see him searching the line of scrimmage when he gets the ball instead of maybe hitting what's there and taking 5 yards. He's trying to hit the 60-yarder because we've been talking about it. And to your point, you're asking the question. So I think it's some of that. And you're right. I'm a Tank Bigsby guy, meaning not he should be getting 20 carries, but instead of 1, let's get him maybe 7. Let's get him 8. There's something to what he's doing. He's running behind the same line. So I actually heard Sheil Kapadia say this, that the offensive line is actually playing at an NFL average and sometimes even above average. But here in Philadelphia, the standard is elite. So if you can't run the football behind an average NFL line, then there's something wrong with the way the running back is seeing things more than it is the offensive line is that abysmal. Now, I thought that was interesting when I heard that, because we think elite offensive line play is the only way to have success. Well, there's a lot of teams out there that can run more efficiently than Saquon does with a lot less talent on the O-line. So why is it struggling so much here? I think Saquon's trying to do too much and hit the home run every time. Yeah,
and here's the thing about Saquon. We really like him. And I think that's why around the country people like him. Real fast, before I let you go, we only got less than a minute. Eagles are 7-point favorites. Do you have a score for the game tonight?
Yeah, I'm going 17-14, ugly, gross. We hate everything about it, and they don't cover.
17-14, we hate everything about it, but we cover. Listen, Hunter Brody from 94 WIP, good friend of mine. Appreciate you coming on. Hope you had a good holiday. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Yes, that was Hunter Brody right there. He has it as a 17-14 ugly game. But the Bears, not to shorten them, they've been a really good football team. They've been a really good story. But the question ultimately is, this is a level up in class. Can they go on the road and beat a Super Bowl champion football team? That'll be something to look into. On the other side here on the Carton Show, I want to talk about how Lane Kiffin, regardless of what he does, is kind of a shaky guy, period.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Huge number out there on Case Wallace to win Defensive Player of the Year at 500-1. That is worth your attention. And a number that I talked about before the season that I still think should be lower is Mark Daigneault to win Coach of the Year at 11-1 in the NBA. If they win 70, he's a lock for top 3. If they win 73, it's his.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like, it just burns up quick, and you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
But possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now in the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson in for Craig Carton. He'll be back on Monday. Hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I know one person who enjoyed his Thanksgiving, Lane Kiffin. We're going to get to him in just a moment. But first, I want to get this big rivalry week, big rivalry day in college football, our second biggest sport in America. You got the Egg Bowl right there at noon, and that's the game where a lot of people are watching because that'll decide the Lane Kiffin situation, and that'll have a cascade down. You have Georgia Tech, as you can see, Texas A&M at Texas, Arizona State, and that's just today. Tomorrow you have the game as Ohio State travels to Michigan. We'll have a pick on that game a little bit later on. So a lot going on in college football, a lot of activity. And one thing I will say before we get into what's wrong with Lane Kiffin, he's getting a bunch of coaches paid because everybody's worried that if Lane Kiffin moves, well, maybe Ole Miss will want to get my coach. So now Vandy does an extension and Missouri does an extension with Drinkwitz. So he's getting everybody paid. But Lane Kiffin is one of the main problems with college football and this entire thing that's happening with LSU and Florida. It seems like Florida might be out of it. And Lane Kiffin is part of what's wrong with the sport of college football and our discourse around it. And I'll explain what I mean by that right now. So you're sitting here, and when I go out, if I go out to the bar right outside the studio and talk to people about college football, they'll talk about the players and how NIL is bad and they want things to go back how they used to be, not realizing that the actions of one Lane Kiffin and this happening is how we got here. It's exactly how we got here because you had the status quo forever. Then someone decided to do something that had never been done before, and they challenged it in court. And then they said, so let me understand this. Let me get this straight. The coaches can do whatever the hell they want, and the players can do nothing and get paid nothing. And the answer was always yes. Well, shouldn't the players get something? And the NCAA's answer was always, well, no. Well, for everybody that has a problem with player movement and thinks NIL's out of control, explain to me how you can be a coach of a team that's 10-1. Even if they lose the game today, the Egg Bowl, they're likely still a playoff team unless he leaves the job. And then he'd be allowed to leave all these players that clearly he recruited for them to coach to play under him, for him to be the coach. And now he's allowed to just go wherever he wants and leave, and yet the players would have to stay. And if you can logically explain that to me without your personal things, then I'll go with you. But there is no logical explanation to why Lane Kiffin is allowed during the season to flirt with multiple teams within its own conference. And this is not the first time Lane's done this. And the players not be able to do it, that's the problem. And Lane, in my opinion, Lane Kiffin should be ashamed of himself. Everything he's asked for from Ole Miss, he's gotten. He asked for more NIL money. The last 2 years, not just this year, he messed it up last year when he had a bunch of players. The defensive rookie of the year in the NFL from Arizona, yeah, he was on his staff, on his team last year. Him with a raise. They made sure his family's good. They've done everything they can and still put a playoff team on the field. It'll be his first time in a 4-team or a 12-team playoff in his whole career. And the moment he finally figures it out, and the moment he gets that situation, he's now outwardly flirting with other teams. He sent his family, while the coach of Ole Miss, to go check out LSU, go check out Florida. Like, yeah, he didn't go necessarily. I know there's rumors he was in disguise, but he sent the wife. He sent the kids. Go check everything out. How is that fair to the players that he asked loyalty for? So when those players in the fourth quarter have to dig deep because coach said so, why should they have to dig deep for Lane Kiffin? When Lane Kiffin in his life has never dug deep professionally, I don't know about his personal life. Well, unfortunately, I do know about his personal life. We all do. You can Google it. But why is Lane Kiffin, when has he ever dug deep professionally for anybody else? And then look at this. And if you're doubting my argument so far, well, just look at this picture. Thanksgiving was yesterday. There's a photo that he released from his home. The kids' table. Now, look, it looks like you have a son looking just like him. You got some cousins, some nieces, all sitting at that little ass table. Now, this man's a millionaire that lives in a big old house. Why is his kids' table that small? Okay, that kid's table is unacceptable. Any man with some class, any man with any kind of scruples would not have his, look how his knees are about to hit the table, the kid at the end of the table that looks just like Lane. You can't have that. What kind of rich man? That tells you, I guarantee if they had showed the picture from Lane's table, it probably looked like Camelot. Like he was sitting there with Lancelot and all those guys, a big long table, and you got the kids sitting at a damn folding card table. That tells you something about Lane. Lane, at the end of the day, is only about Lane. And when he was a young prodigy coach, or when Saban had to let him go right before a bowl game because he was leaving and he was going to take players or that were on the bench and and he got kicked off the squad and kicked off the plane and all that stuff years ago, you think you'd outgrow it at some point. But my issue with Lane is it's always only about Lane, and everybody else be damned. And to be completely fair, yes, the LSU job is a better job, but these people took you on when you were not at the top. You're at like Florida Atlantic, man. You're in there in Florida. You were not at a top school. They gave you another shot after you left Tennessee in the middle of the night and caused a riot. After you got let go from USC and you had to rehabilitate yourself as a coach. Ole Miss paid you and believed in you, and your players believed in you. And instead, rather than show loyalty, clear loyalty, so give me a raise and I'll stay, you're flirting with these other teams and you're thinking about everybody else. You're thinking about only yourself and not thinking about everybody else. And that's my issue with Lane. And we should not blame players when they want to improve their station in life, because a lot of people do it. Oh, why would he transfer? He should just wait till his third year and then maybe he'll play then. Oh, these kids shouldn't get money. Why should the players be limited? When Lane Kiffin has demonstrated in the most blatant way possible that the only thing that matters in the world to Lane is himself. And he's not the only coach like that. He's far from the only coach like that. And this is my problem with Lane, and it's always been my problem with Lane Kiffin, is we want to limit what other people do, and we want to ask players to do something that the coaches don't do in return. So, to be honest with you, I kind of want them to lose the Egg Bowl. I don't think they will, because they don't have that many quality wins, and I want this to all fall apart because Lane doesn't deserve anything good, because Lane never does right by anybody else other than Lane. And you saw it with that trifling table. The way I eat, that thing would have folded right in half, that table, with that terrible table with that plate. I mean, look at this. Look at the size of that table. Those kids are like 16 and up. How are you going to have a table that small when you're a millionaire? It tells you a lot about the situation and explains to me in large part why this college system is the way that it is today. Coming up on the Craig Carton Show, we'll have our football picks. We got some fun things from Jameis Winston to wrap up the show. We'll be right back.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson filling in for Craig. I hope you all had a tremendous Thanksgiving. Man, I'm laughing because I see during the break. So this is earlier in the show, I talked about how the Cowboys enjoy it now because you know it's going to end terribly like it always does. And now this is another reason why. So in almost every city, as you all know, you're all pro football fans, the coach usually does some sort of day after or a week after. They come on the local radio station and they talk, the flagship station that carries the game. But of course, in Dallas, the coach doesn't speak, the GM doesn't speak, Stephen Jones, Jerry does the post game, the day after thing. This is what Jerry Jones said today, this lie. He says this on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. He says before the season started, that he offered the Jets Micah Parsons and a first-round pick for Quinnen Williams. That's how much he liked Quinnen Williams. Now, why would you do that? Why would you lie like that? You see, this is why Cowboys will never prosper. Right when you get a little bit of success, that wild man that you have as the owner, all right, this crazed lunatic, Jerry Jones, going to go tell a lie like that. Now, who in the world could believe that they would have done that? And we know it didn't happen because the Jets, one thing we do know this year, they actually were smart with their trades. So why would a team that's been that smart accumulating picks, why would they have grabbed the Cowboys' first-round pick and Michael Parsons for Quinnen Williams, a player they weren't in love with anyway? This is what I'm talking about with Jerry Jones. Cowboys fans can never prosper, but in large part because of him. Until he sells the team, this man will never, ever, 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 ever win a Super Bowl. So with that nonsense to the side, I want to get to the gift to the sports guys that is Jameis Winston. I find him to be infinitely entertaining. I find he can always be on my team, and I think he's going to be tremendous doing TV when he gets done playing. A couple of things. This is him addressing the media yesterday on Thanksgiving.
First off, guys, happy Thanksgiving to you and your families if you celebrate it. If you don't, happy holidays. Very thankful for this job, one. And thankful for y'all. The work that y'all do is tough. Having to write and make up story. I'm just kidding. But having to do the work that you do, put in the work, that's tough stuff. So we appreciate y'all. We thankful for y'all because y'all stories help us get paid more, keeps the fans engaged.
Now, hold on. Right there. First of all, again, entertaining. Love hearing him. He cracks me up. It's fantastic. This wasn't Christmas. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, happy holidays, what's the alternative? Like, we know that there's Kwanzaa. We know, I don't personally know anybody that celebrates Kwanzaa, but I know it's out there. We know that there's Hanukkah and Christmas. I know that. I know Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. I know that. What's the alternative to Thanksgiving that where you would need to say happy holidays? Like, what is someone doing? Is there a Hatesgiving? Because I would participate in that if it was real. I could call people out, but I do think in all seriousness we all should take time to be thankful. But who exactly was he referring to when he says, if you don't celebrate? But yes, Jameis is just the greatest. And then he started talking about food a little bit, I believe. And here's Jameis Winston, who just, I love him.
Man, my wife, man, she makes some kale, collard greens, she got a little, her family from New Orleans, so she make a nice Creole dressing. It's unbelievable. And one of her cousins, her aunties, she always ship us some gumbo for us to start off the day with some gumbo. Oh. So, man, it's a beautiful thing. Taysom Hill put me on this turkey. I'm typically a ham person, but Taysom Hill put me on this Uncle Ray's turkey. They ship this turkey right to your door. You pop that thing in the oven, and I'm talking about it is succulent. That thing is juicy. It's spicy. Oh, my God, it's amazing.
Man, I'm telling you, Jameis is just the greatest. But and that's the best part about Thanksgiving at the end of the day, and family and all that stuff. But it would be a trash holiday without the food. You just be around a bunch of people who you don't like. Let's get to my picks right now before we run out of time. I've been doing pretty well this year, 24-10. I have one for tonight, one for Saturday, and one for Sunday with the big rivalry weekend coming up. Starting off, I like Texas A&M as they lock themselves into a top 4 spot in the playoffs, regardless of the SEC championship. -2.5 at Texas. Love them in that game. Love A&M. And Arch Manning, the hype train will slow down just a little bit. He has played better. In the game, after 4 long years, I believe that Ohio State not only going to win, I think they destroy Michigan. I like Ohio State -10.5 at Michigan. They kept a lot of guys out on purpose against Rutgers to be healthy for this game. They're going to be keyed up for it, and Michigan's not ready. And then in the NFL, we got a big one because now the Steelers can take back first place with the Ravens' loss. I like them plus the 3.5 versus the Bills. The Bills have been a flawed team this year. It's really 2 flawed teams playing each other, but I do like the Steelers plus the 3.5. So A&M -2.5, Ohio State -10.5, and I like the Steelers plus the 3.5 in the NFL. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching the Craig Carton Show today. You guys have a tremendous weekend, and Craig will be back on Monday.